I'm interested in photographing people and the places they inhabit and their culture. My name is Lanna Apisukh, and I'm a portrait and documentary photographer based in New York City. I got into photography back in college when I was taking darkroom classes and learned about photographers like Mary Ellen Mark, Nan Goldin, William Eggleston. I found their work really inspiring and wanted to create work of my own. One of the first Fujifilm cameras that I picked up was an X-E2, and I really loved the design. The tactile feeling of the buttons and the dials remind me of the analog cameras that I learned on. So I'm really excited to try the latest generation of that camera, the X-E4. For this project, I wanted to capture New York City's Chinatown. It's such a visually interesting place. There's a really great energy. There's so much to look at and to experience in Chinatown. The historic tenement buildings, the colorful produce, the texture of the seafood in the seafood markets. It's fascinating to see how this community has adapted to the coronavirus pandemic. You still feel a bit of that hustle in the street, and I think that comes naturally with being an immigrant and also a New Yorker. You really have to keep moving forward and be resilient. Coming to Chinatown reminds me of my family. When I was younger, my parents would take me to the Chinatown in downtown Orlando where I grew up. They owned and ran a restaurant for over 20 years called Thai Delight. We would buy ingredients and produce for the restaurant and spend the whole Sunday afternoon eating and shopping. Although I've lived in New York City for over a decade and I've photographed Chinatown numerous times, I've always found it a challenge every time I come to this neighborhood. You're just dealing with so many obstacles. There are people walking in and out of your frame, tourists, delivery trucks you have to dodge. So you really need to have a camera that's quick and nimble to navigate all these challenges. I personally don't like carrying a lot of gear when I'm in the street, so having this lightweight compact system really makes it a breeze for me to shoot. The image quality in the X-E4 is outstanding. This camera uses the same sensor as the X Pro 3 and the X-T4, so you can expect professional quality images with beautiful color rendition. It also performs very well in low light conditions and has a very fast autofocus system. The new 27mm lens comes with the rotating aperture ring, and it's also weather resistant. The 27mm lens allows me to tell a bit of a wider story than when I'm using my 35mm go-to lens. I also found that the tilting LCD touchscreen came in handy for reviewing images and also shooting from the waist. You can get a lot of really interesting angles shooting from below. The X-E4 with the 27mm lens is the perfect everyday kit for street and travel photography. I'll definitely be toting this around in my bag or in my pocket.